This is Comanche Peak.
How about an antiseptic hand wipe?
We're about 11,000 feet roughly up. We have about 700 more feet to go to be on top of Phillips. What do you guys think of this view, huh? Logue?
Fantastic.
Donovan? Donovan's sleepy, imagine that.
The hike up Mount Phillips was fairly long because there were all kinds of switchbacks on the way up.
We finally got to this little more uphill. We had to walk up with a bunch of rocks on it. Our first glimpse of the bouldering while hiking.
We had to go up rocks and boulders, and it was a little hard to find where the trail all exactly went.
We had the easier way, which was good, and it wasn't too awful bad because of it not being as steep, and it was still a harder hike, but it was okay.
We met a few groups who had just either come down or were stopping at a camp right below it, and they talked about how nice the view was.
When we got to the top of Phillips, the weather was fairly nice.
I do remember looking for a campsite, and I was kind of bummed out. We finally got there, and it's like, oh, we gotta walk a lot longer more, because we gotta find a better campsite than what was the first one that we came to. That was closer to the peak.
The weather at the top of Phillips was a bit colder.
But then, just as we were about to start eating dinner, it started raining.
Well, on the way out there, it was to the peak of Philmont. Of Mount Phillips. It was pretty cold, and we got there. We didn't get to watch the sunset.
For dinner, we had crackers and cheese and some orange flavored gummies.
And we had little things of cheese.
And beef jerky. The typical Philmont meal.
At base camp, the food was pretty good. At base camp, I ate spaghetti for dinner, and then for breakfast, I had sausage, pancakes, stuff like that.
And then got even colder.
On Phillips, there wasn't any water. It was a dry camp, and so we had the idea of putting our tarp up to drain some of the water from the rain into a bucket, so we can use that after we filter it, use it for water.
The rain gear was wet, and it was harder to find places, and then when it did stop raining later that night, you tried to hang it up, and then it would start raining again. You get back in your tent, and you just wait there till morning.
And I finally for the first time, used my sleeping bag liner that night.
It was thunderstorm. We got pretty nervous about having to go back down and pack everything up at 12 o'clock at night or something. But we sat it out and we made it.
Next morning, it was still a little cool, but it wasn't rainy or anything.
The weather was pretty cold. So, of course, everybody had their whole weather gear on so that they would be nice and warm on the upcoming hike down.
And there were hardly any clouds, so you could see out into the valley, and you could see what we had missed the night before, and we got to see most of the sunrise, and it was a beautiful picture. And the rocks up there were amazing, and you could just see into the valley, and it was just like someone had painted it.
The next morning was horrible because it was really cold there. I hated it. I hated having to get up. Several mornings I hated having to get up.
Watch the flag. Oh, down there. Like a bunch of little houses.
Sorry. What are you sorrying about?
Now you can say you're on top of the world. Sort of. Somebody left a flag up here. That flag. In loving memory, Tom Lynch. Even has the dates.
Yeah, Baldy. Oh yeah. Yep.
Good morning. Where's your shorts?
Doug? Baldy. I told you I thought. Yeah. Baldy was off that way.